Hello, this is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your thumbs up, for your comments, and thank you for sharing the videos. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is Governor Wes Moore, governor of the great state of Maryland, the Democratic governor of the great state of Maryland, and the first black governor of the great state of Maryland, I might add. Wes Moore is an impressive young man. He has played by the rules. He's well educated. He's a veteran of the United States Army. He's a family man, married to a beautiful black woman with black children, and he is married to the right kind of woman for what he's trying to do. Because it really just is not popular. As much as people try to make it seem like, oh, America has gotten past race and America has gotten past interracial marriage, that is not true. It is not true. He's married to the right kind of woman. He has a beautiful family, two beautiful black children, and he has played by America's rules. He has earned the position that he has as governor of the great state of Maryland. He doesn't have all these blemishes in his background, these baby mamas and these children that he hasn't taken care of. So, in that regard, he presents a good image for a black governor of any state and would be a good image for the president of the United States, even better than President Obama, because he was brought up in the States. He was brought up in the United States. He is a product of Caribbean immigrants, Cuba and Jamaica. He's married to an FBA wife. I've been digging and searching and digging and searching for immigrant parents, grandparents, great grandparents, great great grandparents in her background, and I cannot find them. They say she is African American, the first African American First Lady of Maryland. But I will continue to search because that's going to be important going forward. Now, Westmore is on a track, and I don't know how fast that track is, but he is on a track to become the nominee for President of the United States for the Democratic Party. That's just where he's headed because the reality is there's not a lot of competition out there. So he might as well throw his name in the hat as anybody else. But he's going to have to clear some hurdles before he can get that nomination. And recently he did something that I think is going to cause him some trouble. So let me share this. Maryland Governor Wes Moore vetoes slavery reparations study, citing need for the work itself. Now, I don't know what he means by need for the work itself. Well, I know what he means, but why would you veto a study? Why would you veto a study? That's grandstanding, in my opinion. Grandstanding for the white gaze. You want white people to know that I vetoed the slavery reparations study. I'm against reparations. Okay, all that's well and good now that you're elected governor, but what about getting reelected and what about the next step? This is from the Associated Press, Annapolis, Maryland. Maryland Governor Wes Moore announced Friday he will veto a measure to create a commission to study potential slavery reparations in the state, saying that while it was a difficult decision, the issue already has been studied and now is the time to focus on the work itself. Moore, a Democrat, who is the state's first black governor and the only black governor currently serving, wrote in his veto letter that he applauded the legislature's work on the bill. But in light of the many important studies that have taken place on this issue over nearly 3 decades, now is the time to focus on the work itself, narrowing the racial wealth gap, expanding home ownership, uplifting entrepreneurs of color, and closing the foundational disparities that lead to inequality from food insecurity to education, Moore wrote. Now, my commentary on that is whereas what he has said is very important, we can't just push aside the fact that all of the things that he mentioned, the wealth gap, low home ownership, not being able to start businesses, not getting a decent education, all of those spring back from slavery and inequality. For black people working for hundreds of years, not being paid for their work and not being able to create generational wealth. So we would have access to these programs, these services that he's talking about. We can't just ignore that. All of these things go back to slavery, Mr. Governor. So the article says the governor also noted in his veto letter that black politicians have risen to the highest levels of government in the state in recent years. For example, U.S. Senator Angela Also Brooks is the state's first black U.S. senator. Maryland also has a black attorney general, a black state house speaker, and a black treasurer. And that's all well and good for those accomplished black people. Those people had to pull themselves up double, not having the benefit of generational wealth, not having the benefit of a really strong state funded education like others have had, but have had to sacrifice, and their families had to double sacrifice for them to reach those potentials. And they represent only a small percentage of the black people in the state of Maryland, let alone the United States of America. So nobody is saying that those people's accomplishments are not important. They are very important, but they represent the talented 10th or the talented 20th. They don't represent 80% of the black American population in Maryland. So, we're right back to square one. This reparations bill was introduced in this year's legislative session as a top priority of the Legislative Black Caucus, which, with 66 members, is the largest black caucus in the nation's state legislatures. The caucus released a statement Friday night expressing deep disappointment in the governor's veto. At a time when the White House and Congress are actively targeting black communities, dismantling diversity initiatives, and using harmful coded language, Governor Moore had a chance to show the country and the world that here in Maryland we boldly and courageously recognize our painful history and the urgent need to address it, the caucus said in the statement. Instead, the state's first black governor chose to block this historic legislation that would have moved the state toward directly repairing the harm of enslavement. The measure passed with strong support in the General Assembly, which is controlled by Democrats. The House voted 100 to 1 to 36 for the bill, and the Senate approved it 32-13. Both chambers approved the measure with margins large enough to override a veto if all members who voted for the bill decided to override the governor's veto. The legislature ended its regular 90-day session last month, and it would not take up veto overrides until lawmakers gather again, whether next year's regularly scheduled 90-day session in January or a special session this year if one were to be called. So the legislature has the votes to override the veto if they choose to do so. So if the Maryland legislature is serious about moving forward with this reparations study, they have the power to do so. So, he can't hold it up. But the question is, why would he do it? Well, the reason he's doing it is for politics. As I stated before, he is aware that all eyes are on him. And as the only black governor in the country, I can see him with political ambitions being afraid to try to lead that charge. But still, they can move ahead with it. Now, how would this affect him as a presidential candidate? Well, if black people across the country decided to be upset about this and not vote for him in a primary, it would make all the difference as to whether he would become the nominee for the Democratic Party. And so, for people who would say, well, black people can't get him elected, black people can't elect him, he got to have more than black people voting for him. That's absolutely true. He's got to have more than black people voting for him in the general election. But before you get to the general election, you got to make it through the primary. You got to win the primary. And before he can win a Democratic primary, oh, he going to come through black folk. He going to come through us. That's a fact. When Hillary Clinton ran against President Obama in 2008, everybody thought it was a wrap for Hillary until the primaries. And when she got down here in these southern states, she got shellacked. by Barack Obama, and he ended up being the Democratic nominee. And we know how that ended. And Wes Moore, before he can become the nominee for the Democratic Party for President of the United States, he got to come through us. So nobody who wants to be a Democratic nominee for President of the United States has the luxury of taking black people lightly. Black people are to be taken very seriously when you're talking about a presidential primary because you're coming through the South and we vote in the primary. So we'll be here. Whenever he decides to run, we will be here. So he has an opportunity to redeem himself. And how he responds to things going forward is going to determine whether or not black Americans will support him. Now, he will be facing a younger electorate than what President Obama was facing. He's going to be facing a more active black American electorate. So it's going to be interesting to see whether or not he'll be able to find consensus with black people enough for them to support him because that support is going to be vital if he's going to win the Democratic nomination for president. So, what say you? If Wes Moore should run for president, could you support him? Or would his candidacy be dead on arrival because he didn't vote for the reparations study and or because his family came here as Jamaican immigrants? Would one of those things or both of those things be important to you? Or would you look to see whether or not he was trying to build consensus with the Black American community to address the things that we care about? How do you think you would feel about it? Could you support him? Let me know. Thank you for listening. Give me a thumbs up and have a good evening.